Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris, happy to be with you on this Monday. I guess we're all getting ready for Christmas, the holiday season, coming off of Thanksgiving. Again, I'm Charles Morris here at the Journey 2020. Been around since 2013. Been going solo now for about a year. Used to be with Dr. John Robertson, not Robinson, but Robertson, and a clinical psychologist here in the Central Florida area, and who does a lot of great things. One of the things that he does every year is called the Recovery Walk and Run, where a lot of recovering addicts come out and support each other, give their stories. The different organizations who work with drug addiction come out, bring their clients, and a day of encouragement. So one of the other things that he does that he's very heavily involved with is Black AIDS Day, and he's been involved with that for some years as well. In addition to just being a good guy, originally from Jamaica, via New York, and he's been here in the Central Florida area for a very long time. And I met him through a gentleman that I met back when I was working with Orange County, Orange TV, when I was doing my Summit TV show that I did for a period of over 9 years. Had a gentleman on my panel, and I forgot what the topic and what the discussion was, but he is a clinical psychologist as well. That was Dr. Charles English, who passed away a short time ago. As a matter of fact, it's just weird because Dr. English, over the years, that's what my show is that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you a little information on my annual event that I do every year, which is called What's My AntiDrug Eve Summit. And wasn't even thinking about this when I was doing the show, but Dr. English, who I've been knowing for some time, would have these meetings every Monday. He did that for a period of over 20 years. And you know how you go to the meeting, you involved, and then time goes by, and before you know it, it's been a whole year. And he'll see me. He'll say, "Man, you know, you haven't been to our meeting." And what the meeting was about is just a gathering, not really a meeting. Well, I guess it's a meeting where he would just invite anybody and friends and bright minds, just people in general, and they would sit around for about 2 hours and just talk about what's going on in the world. Like, for an example, if it was an election year, that they would talk about what's going on. You might as well come on in, friends. They would. I'm sorry, but she's trying to come in. But they would talk about what's going on in the world, and it would be a gathering, and he would have everybody from different nationalities, people from different walks of life, and so it was always very interesting to hear the other perspective. And the funny thing is, because there were people that were in there from all different walks of life, and so it varied from year to year, from conversation to conversations, because you had some, professional people in there, you had rich people in there, you had all different walks of life in these meetings. I had no idea I'd be talking about this today, but I say that to talk about Charles English in the Youth Summit, but it was interesting because you hear the different walks of life, different perspective of life. I mean, you would have people from Iran, everybody in the different religions, faith, belief, all of that would be in the same room, just talking in general. And there were no rules, anything like that. Everybody was always, respectful for the times that I was there. But sometimes you would hear the different philosophies or the different personalities, and you hear them speaking from their heart. And you'd be like, wow. But that would be their perspective. And sometimes during these conversations, they would say what they say, and them being who they are, like the world, sometimes they know that they're racist, and sometimes they don't. Be like, you don't know that you really racist because that's just your perspective, and that's how you was brought up, and that's how you see the world. And some of them, there's some people who see themselves that way. And I say that to say that I had not seen Dr. English for a while, and I stopped by at one of the meetings and said, "Oh, by the way, in about 2 weeks, I'm having my annual event, and would you like to be on the panel?" And I'm trying to think what was the topic, because he was on the panel, and James Crawford was on the panel, who had been on the show. Stanley Murray was on the panel, and a couple other people. And I think it had to do with what to do if you stop by law enforcement. And I think he was on there to talk about just from the clinical part of how we deal with stuff in today's time, psychologically, and so he gave that perspective. I think that's why because I've been doing this summit for 15 years, and so talking about it today, when I was talking about Dr. Robertson, who I met through Dr. English, to say that Saturday when he came on the show, Dr. English that is, and had a very good summit. What made it kind of unique was him and his wife had gone to an event that morning. So that portion of the summit started at about 1 o'clock, somewhere around 1 o'clock. So when we finished, it was lunchtime. And I said, well, we're getting ready to eat. Won't you come and join us? And he said, well, no, we ate this morning, my wife and I, wherever they had gone to that morning. And he said, well, I said, oh, okay. Then about 3 minutes later, he came up to me. He said, yeah, oh, okay, I'll stay. So I was like, okay, cool. You get to join us for lunch. And he joined us for lunch. We sat around the table. We talked for a little while. And so we had a very good summit. We had a very good day. And for those out there who know me, know that I love to fish. So I try to fish, at least maybe 2 or 3 times a month, if I can. And so the very next day, I'm out fishing. This is always after church, and get a phone call from Dr. Robertson, who used to co-host a show with me. And he said, Dr. English has passed away. I was like, what? I mean, that whole process of have not seen him for a while, stopped by the Monday meeting that he's been doing for over 20 years, him being his normal self, asking him to come to the summit, be on the panel. He decided to come and do so, and he did. And then he said he wasn't going to leave, but he was going to stay for lunch, and he did. We had a good conversation. Thank him for showing up. Next day you get a phone call and he's passed away. And you would never know that there was a health issue. You never knew that there was any problems or anything like that. And it's just like, wow. But I say that to say that I associate him with the summit, which I was talking about today, which I'm talking about today was on the December 1st and December 2nd, I had my 15th annual youth summit. And it's something that's I've been doing for a long time. And you say, well, what is that about? Well, the Youth Summit, which I'm going to try to highlight on another show, but because a guest that was supposed to come on today that was part of the summit is not available, but we're going to do something else later. But I'm going to have somebody on next week as well that was part of the Gospel Teen Idol. But the Youth Summit is something that I started back some time ago. when I was working with a gentleman by the name of Bob Pickerel through the Orange County Office for a Coalition for a Drug-Free, for a drug-free community. And that was through the Orange County chairman, which is now called the Orange County mayor, but back then was called the chairman. And Bob Martinez assigned Bob Pickerel as the drug czar. That's always a weird name to me, the drug czar. So, and the reason why, do you know why he had to be signed as the drug czar? Well, that was because here in the Orlando area, Mickey country, yeah, where we love Mickey and the Universal Studios back when Shamu was like big and everything, and we were leading the country. We were leading the country in people overdosing off of heroin. That's right, here in Orlando. And like the opioid crisis we're having, it was this heroin problem was huge here. There's a couple of places in downtown area where they was having these rave parties that was like really huge then. And where these young kids would go to these rave parties here in the Central Florida area, right here in Orlando, and they were just dropping. And so Martinez assigned Bob Pickerel as the drug czar, and under Bob, he came up with this office, and with me doing my summit, with me working with Orange TV and highlighting a lot of the things that we were doing in the Orange County area, which is what I was doing, anything that pertained to our youth and what was going on in our community. That was primarily what I focused on in producing and directing many shows and many events, sporting events for the kids. Bob and I got together, and I told him that I wanted to do this karate event. So that's how it started out. It started out as an event that I used martial arts as a way to bring the people in to give a message. And that my plan was to eventually let it evolve into what it has become. So it kind of like, wow, it actually worked out where we had kids ages 5 to 19 come out. You know what? I might have this. I'm going to see if I do have it. Let me see if I have it. I may not. I may not have it. I was looking to see if I had it, but I don't. I was going to show you some of the public service announcement that I created from back in the day with a lot of the kids in the martial arts program that was part of it. Well, you know what? I think I might have it. No, I don't have it. No, that's not it. That's something else. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that we started out with the martial arts program with the Youth Summit, and it evolved into the workshops. Well, what are the workshops? The workshops would be something that would be about a certain topic. For an example, there's a workshop for girls. And I think one of my favorite workshops over the years, if we try to encourage them, I'm doing the same thing that millions are doing every day, trying to plant a seed, so there's plenty of people that's out there trying to do something when it comes to the community and us as a whole. So you try to plant the seed. And one of my favorite workshops was with the girls was, if you raise the bar, they'll raise their pants. And so what that was a workshop trying to get them to understand their power, because, and I think the sad part of why you have to do that topic is because they don't know that it's not cool. It's not a good thing when you accept being called the B word. You accept the fact that this guy can come at you any kind of way, that you accept that even that you think that you have to talk to that guy, or you have to feel good about if you date that specific kind of guy, you know. So trying to get them to understand those little things like that. A boys' workshop would just be like, who are you when no one else is around? We've done things on sports and stuff like that. We've tried to, one of my favorite parent workshop was when, because the majority of the time when we do what we do, parents show up. If there would be, let's just say, because what they do is that they drop the kids off and then they, you know, they book. But if we have about 15 to 20 parents, I would say 17 out of 20 would be the mothers. We do have fathers, or we have mentors that would bring the, you know, the boys there, or even some of the girls. So there are times when there are mentors who bring the kids to the workshop or to the summit. So a lot of times, a lot of the fathers are not, the parents are not there, but that's okay. That's okay. And so one of my favorite for the adults was trying to get them to understand, especially the single mothers, that you need a father figure to help raise your children. And we tried to get them to understand what that means, especially when it comes to those mothers raising the boys. And that's a hard task, to try to get them to understand that. And when you talk a lot of times with mothers, they immediately go into the defensive mode because they're thinking that you're saying that they're a bad mother. And it's very difficult to try to get past the ego and for them to understand what you're really saying. And so you have to be very delicate with that subject because it's sometimes you can't. When you talk to them, if you can really get them to hear, which is sometimes very difficult to do because they're so defensive, and it's very, I don't know, I found out that when you talk on subjects like that, Dr. Robertson was on the panel, my pastor was on the, and the reason why that whole topic came up and what I thought was a good topic was because I just heard my pastor in general speaking. He was just talking because he's been working in the jail system for over 20 plus years. And he was just talking and he said, man, I've seen, when I say this, men, or I understood exactly what he was saying and I knew exactly what he meant. His comment was, I've seen so many young men come to this jail because of their mother. I was like, oh, well, we got to do a topic on that. And so he came with his perspective, trying to talk as general, I mean, as understanding and just trying to be very gentle with that topic. And it's still a very difficult topic to deal with because they just become so defensive. And there are some women who really get it. There's some women who really understand that what God gave them is not something that they say, well, you know what? I don't know how to raise my son to be a man. And once once they understand that, half of the battle in that sense of where their placement is, and they understand, and so the workshop was about trying to get them to understand what that means and how important that is for them to get an uncle, someone from the church, a coach, a friend who can help fill that role as a father figure that is so much needed. And it doesn't matter whether it's a girl or a boy, because that's how God made it. And so that doesn't mean that certain things aren't going to be just simply because there isn't a father around. But if you understand how it's supposed to be. And what happens, because I had this conversation with a friend of mine who was in that defensive mode, because now I'm kind of getting off topic of the summit itself, but the reason why it was so important is because, again, she was extremely defensive on the conversation. And so she was that typical mother who mothered her sons. And even though the father was there, he was a straight, true alcoholic. And when I say alcoholic, he would show up at work at 6 o'clock in the morning drunk. As a matter of fact, she told me that the people on his job, they both worked at the same place, but she worked at different hours. And she told me that he was so bad as dealing with his alcohol, there were people that work with him would be taking bets on the mornings and the days that he would show up drunk. But I say that to say that they had been married for over 20 plus years, and they had 3 children together. And he wasn't really much of a father figure, but she really didn't understand certain things about what they would see. And there was nothing that she really could do in that sense, but I was just trying to get her to understand some things. Because when there was some major problems that the son was having, and I was trying to explain to her that it's kind of embarrassing that he has to come to her for that situation. And to her, it was a wonderful thing, the fact that her son could come to her and talk to her. And I was trying to explain to her, a lot of times as parents, you don't know the cause and the effects. And it doesn't happen until you get older that you realize that these things and your traits and your personality are this way because of what happened, of what you didn't or did not have growing up from your mother and your father. It eventually it comes up, it comes out, and when the light comes on, because when you have the perspective of what life is supposed to be and these things that's supposed to be, and I'm just talking about the simple foundation of everyday life of just relationship, conversation, how you could be able to deal with things, just conflict in life, because you are to learn these things from your mother and your father, what you see and how you act and how to deal with life. So these things come up and out as you get older and you begin to deal with more in life. And life comes at you in a way that if the foundation is not set, then you have a little difficult more path to travel. And so I was trying to get her to understand it, but she was so busy really not hearing what I was saying. She was so busy focusing on the fact that that's my baby. She was so busy focusing on the fact that my child can come to me. But I was trying to let her know that because he was like 15, that when he gets older and start to understand certain things, and I would say this right here, so I can kind of give you the perspective my friend, by the way, she passed away, and I felt so bad for her because she, when you love your children and you got that mothering thing going on, because I got a situation now with a friend of mine and I'm still praying on it and how I can go and sit and talk with her, because she got a grown son, and as God is my witness, if you ever hear her talk about her son, when you finish talking, you would say, well, what grade is he in middle school? Because you would never know that he's grown. There's always a reference to her in that biblical cord that she can't cut. And he's grown. But her perspective is just so wacky. And so I say this to say that I was trying to explain to her, again, I'm off topic, but I was trying to explain to her how embarrassing it is, or how it may reflect later on, that he has to come to her and address an issue with his groin area. You know, his groin, and it's just like, I won't really say, but what it was. But I'm like, no, he really don't want to talk with you about that. He really want to talk to his father, but he has to come to you because of the relationship. It's not good that he's talking to. It's good that he can talk to you, but she was so proud that the son can come to her, and and that she had to deal with it. Like, no, because in reality, you really can't relate to what's going on. What you gonna do? Put your hands down there and rub it? Put some alcohol on it? And I was just making jokes, but I understood what he was saying, what he was going through. But it's just little things like that, and it's like, no, just cause he's dealing with a situation between his legs and what was going on and and you want to be the mama, like, no. But that was one of the reasons why we did I'm getting off topic now, but that was one of the reasons why we did the summit. And I wanted to bring up Charles English in reference to that whole situation, to the summit that transpired on the 1st and the 2nd of December. And it was the 15th Youth Summit. And it was very unique. And a while back, we added the Gospel Teen Idol to it. That was something that was, a lot of fun. So I want to show you some of the pictures, only a few of the pictures, and I'll talk over these pictures. I will talk over them, and see if I can do this now. Well, first of all, it's called the What's My AntiDrug Eve Summit. This year, it was a little different. And we're going to talk more about that later on another show. I had Peter Carnegie on, along with Dr. Woods. And Dr. Woods is my urologist. And I'm trying to see, yeah, here we go. This is, I don't know if you remember Dr. Woods, but this is Dr. Woods. That's not the one I want to play. I'm looking at it, but that's not the one that I want to play. I'm going to see if I can find the one that I want to play. And then you will know who Dr. Woods, if you've been watching the show, you would know who Dr. Woods. Okay, let me see if I can do this right here. This is Dr. Woods.
Hi, I'm Dr. Abraham Woods, a urologist in Altamont Springs, Florida. Today, I'd like to get you interested in something that you probably never heard of. There is a shot going around, and it's not the flu shot, that's giving rejuvenation and vitality to women. Now, there are times when women laugh, cough, sneeze, and wet themselves. This same shot helps to correct that problem. If you've never heard of it, there's a shot that's now called the O shot. This shot has a lot to do with giving you back your platelets. Plasma that's rich in your platelets has been shown for years to help with revolutionizing your body. Think about Kobe Bryant, an athlete that had knee trouble. Instead of getting the surgery done, he had injection of his platelets. Now, today, we have available in our office a procedure that can take almost 20, no more than 30 minutes of taking your blood, drawing your plasma, and getting your rich platelets so that we give it back to you in a nice, sterile environment under local anesthesia. This is something we need to talk about. Are you interested? Can we get closer? Look at me at centerforurology.org. I'm Dr. Abraham Woods, and I would like to introduce you to something that may revolutionize your orgasms, your ability to have good sex, removing dyspareunia, that is painful intercourse, removing leakage of urine, and making you more sexual and increasing the capacity for you to obtain and receive better orgasms. Check me out, Dr. Abraham Woods at centerforurology.org, and I would like to help you increase your sexual performance and bring rejuvenation to your life.
That is Dr. Woods. He's a great guy. This guy is so smart, man. But he's very good, very good-natured guy, God-fearing guy. But he's so smart, in so many ways in life. But he's humble. very nice guy. I always tell him, said, I'm so happy that God didn't give you like really big hands, just not big hands, just thank God for the small things in life, you know what I'm saying? He's my urologist, as he would say. Yeah. Anyway, Dr. Woods, him and Peter Carnegie are very good friends. And I met Peter through the links here in Orlando. Links is actually around the country, but they were involved in the STAR program, which is part of Peter program. And what he does is that he works, his regular job is that he goes around and he teaches the top surgeons. Listen to me now. He teaches the top surgeons how to use the robotics in surgery. So he developed this very unique program that he introduced this to our youth. And so the youth are part of this dynamic day of activities of these $1 million machines. By the end of the day, they're doing the surgery just like the doctors, except it's through a simulator. And they're working on the kidney. They're working on the spine. They're doing all these things that are just phenomenal. And so we did the summit this year just on that. So we're going to talk more about that on a later show. But the first part of the summit is the Gospel Teen Idol, where the kids come out and third place is $50, second place is $100, and first place is $300. And so, let's see if I can get this going here. And let me do it like this. And here we are. We're getting ready, and it was at my church. And you're a little nervous. My pastor was the MC for the night, which I knew it would, because he's funny. My pastor, Omega Jenkins. And we're at True Vine Baptist Church, and you can actually catch us online. You can watch everything online at True Vine. It's TRU Vine, Facebook. He's a very, very, very good pastor. But these are some of the pictures that I took. I'm about to put everything together, and I'm going to air it on Facebook, and I'm going to air it on the show here. That's the family right there. That's the mother and the son and sister and brothers. And that's the mother there who had her son and daughter. There, one wrote his little rap song, and one actually, she had worked very hard on it. That's the Price family there. We're going to get a chance to see them and kind of give you a flavor. Look at the cute little girl. But we kind of give you a flavor of what the evening was about. That's the family that I was talking about right there. She had a son and a daughter there. And those are my helpers. That's the Price family right there. That's the little girl. Huh? Isn't she cute? Wow. Again, I thought it was well attended, and I really enjoyed it, and I just thank God that it was a blessed evening. Both days were blessed, and the cool thing about it was that this little girl right here is a member of our church, and she's such a great spirit in so many ways. She is one of the parents of one of the groups that was there. And again, it was a very blessed evening. And one of the reasons that I like to do this and make it part of the summit is he wrote his own little little song himself. And the thing is, see, what was neat about him was that he's another story. This this little kid right here, he's 4 years old, and he does this little mime thing, a praise dance, a mime, and but I was saying the other kid, what was so neat about him was that he's very shy, and not this kid. This kid right here is not shy at all. But the other kid, he's very shy. And I had talked with the mother like 2 days before the event, and she said that he was crying and that he didn't know if he was going to do it. And so I was a little worried about it. So, but the day before, she said, "Oh, he's fine. We good." And so it's just like one of those things, like you just never know, because you know how kids are. And, you know, he might fold like when you come in and he see the people. But you would never know that he was, you know, very shy, and he didn't want to do it, and he was crying, and you would never know that, because he got up there. His sister was first, I think. Yeah, his sister was first, and then there was someone else, and then he came on later. But I was so proud of him. The fact that he fought through his fears, and he did a great job. And I have not been able to go to church the past 2 Sundays since the event, because my car is in the shop. But I am going to make sure that I go up to him next Sunday, and I'm going to give him a big hug, and I'm going to tell him how much I am so proud of him, and thank him for coming and taking part and being part of the event. And he did a phenomenal job. I'm really impressed. That's his sister right there. And everybody was, you know, supportive, and everybody did a great job. And I'm always so happy that I'm able to do this, and that God works with me. And like I said, I like to just say that I like to make it a night of worship, and a night of worship and praise. And that's really what it's about. And I'm going to show you those of our 3 judges right there up front. And they gave us their time. And through that right there, I would say there's years and years of experience right there. And so I am so thankful for the evening. I'm so thankful that God blessed us, and that, you know, that there was praises in the house. And this right here is really an introduction of everyone right here. So we kind of like went through it, and I'm going to show you one of the groups, but this is what the evening was like.
Okay, the Price family. Where are the Price?
All
right. We're going to make this simple. I just kind of filled in and a little bit under the weather, but my name is Ken Moore. So Charles just handed me this and said, take over. So we worked in radio for all these years. But anyway, you are the Price family, right? All right. Introduce all you guys, because I'm known to mess up some names.
Jaren.
Jonah.
Jada.
All right. Okay. Well, Charles, see, you might as well do this.
No. That's.
Oh, and their motto is the family that prays together stays together. All right. Okay. Okay. So Bria McCrae. Oh, I just said your name anyway, right? She's 16 years old, Haggerty High School, singing as long as she can remember, and has been writing her own music since she was about 6 years old. All right. Y'all give her a hand. Tajane Young. That's you? Okay, how you doing? Let's see if I can get your information right. 11 years old, a true survivor, was born weighing 1 pound, God is good, ain't he? 1 pound, 13 ounces. And she's overcome many battles with God on her side. Give her another great big round of applause. Okay, the God Brothers. Kingdom Warriors. Y'all changed on me, huh? All right, come on up here. Tell me about yourself.
The Kingdom Warriors are a dynamic, I don't know any words to put into it. We're basically a warfare praise group. We come together as youth and we warfare for youth of Central Florida. And through praise and through worship, we change because we believe at Lighthouse that deliverance is not optional, but it is mandatory.
All right. Not optional, but mandatory. Y'all heard that, right? What's up, Roger? All right. Leonard Young, how you doing? You doing good? You ready? All right. Leonard is 9 years old, amazing little boy who loves drawing and karate, correct? All right. And let's see, he's going to be a mighty warrior for the kingdom. Y'all give him a great big round of applause. Now, I know I'm going to mess this name up, but I'm going to do it anyway. Lalana Davis. Did I get it right? All right. I'm close. Leilani. Lay. Emphasis on the lay line. All right. All right. Is a student at Ridgewood Elementary and says that her inspiration for singing came from her mom. And she loves the Lord and loves singing at True Vine Baptist Church. Yeah. All right. Way to Higher Heights boys. Oh, that's a band. Band, my bad. She looked at me like, Okay. Formerly known as the Endurance Band, and through many tireless hours of late day and night practices, they felt it was necessary to help them live up to the challenge of becoming the Higher Heights Band under the band leader and director Cassidy Gordon, along with the assistants. Y'all give it up for them. Did I get everybody? All right. All right. So that's what true friends do to you. When you walk in, they hand you the microphone and they say, go at it. Thank God I made it.
All right, all right. Thank you so very much. We go way back, the gentleman that, we go back to the Cookman days, where people think I went to Cookman. Yeah. BCU. Yeah. Okay, all right. I want to recognize a couple of people. There's a friend of mine who I've been knowing even before I met Val. I know her as Val Butler. Everybody else knows her as Val Demings, but Val Butler went to Wolfson High School in Jacksonville. And there's somebody from my neighborhood that I've been knowing since, man, she was one of the best basketball players. I'm serious. She was one of the best basketball players in the school. And if that's something coming from my neighborhood, and I know her as Veronica Brinkley, but Miss Strickland. Veronica Strickland. Would you please stand and just say hi? Yeah. And I wanted to recognize her because she said that she wanted to make a donation, and she did. So thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. There's another gentleman that I have to recognize. He's a frat brother. And I can't even, if I was to sit here and just tell you about this brother, we'll be here all night long. And what I mean by that is he's been coaching over at the Smith Center for 20 years. Okay? On the average, when you do your football, how many kids do you have, Greg? About 160 kids over at the Smith Center. And he's been doing this for 20 years. That kids that he coached 20 years ago, now he's coaching their kids. And it's the Little League football of city of Orlando. And how many leagues are there? Four? There's 4 leagues. There's the Pee Wee, Junior, Senior, and there's one more. And flag, okay? His kids, every year for the last 20 plus years, Classic Weekend, that Sunday, they play for the championship and what I call the Citrus Bowl, but now they call it that one. Camping World Stadium. Okay. So it's a great experience for the kids to play there in the bowl. But he had 3 of his teams there for the championship, and they won all 3. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. All right, I wanted to give my frat brother some props there because, seriously, think about it. He's dealing with 120 kids that's in the hood, straight in the hood. And he's been doing this for so long. And he's a good guy. And that's what the summit is all about. The summit is for, as you know, like I was saying, there are people who try to make a difference in the lives of kids all around this world. And so Greg Bird, who I was saying there, is a frat brother, and he does a tremendous job working with those kids. And he had 3 teams in playing for the championship on Classic Weekend, which is the FAMU Cookman game that is played at the Camping World Stadium, Citrus Bowl. And so the fact that there's 4 different leagues, and he had 3 teams playing for the championships, and people will talk about the fact that that they won. I really don't care about that. What I care about is how the kids act, whether they win or lose, and the job that he does, and the seed that he plants every year, and the time that he spends making a difference in the lives of so many children. And then to hear some of the stories of, like, for example, and I'll get back to this, but he told me the story just last year that he went to one of the kids' home who was being raised by the grandmother, and he saw some of the sores on her legs and stuff. And so he was trying to figure out what was going on, and come to find out that they were bites from the rats that they were living with. And I was like, wait a minute. And then, because right then and there, I was like, wait a minute, what, huh? So, but he said, no, they were not living there anymore, and that they had gotten out of that house or whatever it was, because I was like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds like they need some serious help. But he said, no, that they were not living there anymore. But it's situations like that, and he had millions of stories like that through the 20 years of coaching over there at the Smith Center. But anyway, I wanted to show you one of the groups that was there as part of the Gospel Teen Idol. This is the Price family, and we're going to have, I'm trying to think, not the Price, we're going to have a group on next week. The father is going to come and talk about what he's doing with the kids and what that is like, not only his kids, but his mentoring the kids, and he uses the band and music as a way of mentoring. So we're going to have him on next week. He's going to bring on a couple of kids, so they're going to talk about what that's like. But here is the Price family. So let's enjoy.
My soul
has got to move.
Oh, my soul
Has got to move.
my soul.
Has got to move.
There's a leak in this old building, and my soul.
Okay, I didn't do that justice. So you know what? Let me start that over. Let me start it from right here.
Do your thing. Success is knowing your purpose in God, knowing your will, and operating within that. Let us now hear. First, hello, I might as well do this like the folks on TV do. You are the Price family? What are you guys going to do tonight?
Sing for the Lord.
Sing for the Lord.
Yeah, we're not going to sing for the Lord.
I got that. I got that. He didn't say sing. They going to sing. Let's give the Price family another hand.
There's a leak in this old building, my soul.
Has got to move.
Oh, my soul.
Got to move.
My soul.
Has got to move.
There's a leak in this old building, and my soul.
Has got to move.
'Cause I got a building.
A building I made by man's hands.
Before this time, another year. I may be dead and gone, but before I go, I'll be living in the
This old building keeps on leaning, and my soul.
Has got to move.
My soul.
Got to move.
My soul.
Got to move.
There's a leak in this old building, and my soul.
Has got to move.
'Cause I got a building.
A building I made by man's hands. When I can read my title clear to mansions in the sky, I bid farewell to all of my friends. God said he would wipe my weeping eyes.
Oh, this old building keeps on sinking, and my soul.
Has got to move.
My soul.
Has got to move.
My soul.
Has got to move.
There's a leak in this old building, and my soul.
Has got to move.
'Cause I got a building.
A building I made by man's hands.
Before this time, another year, I may be dead and gone. I bid farewell to all of my friends, 'cause God said he would wipe my weeping eyes. Oh, there's a leak in this old building, and my soul.
Has got to move.
I got a building.
A building I made by man's
Tell me where we
hands.
going. I'm moving home. I'm moving home.
I'm moving home.
I'm moving home.
I'm moving home.
I'm moving home.
I'm moving home.
Moving.
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 Tell 'em. Moving.
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 I mean, you can't help but love it. It's the kids, they're young, and the energy in the building was great, and that's the kind of evening that it was. And so that's what funny thing is that whenever I'm doing something like that, I pray a lot. I actually fast for a couple of days, just asking God to bless the event, just wanting Him to make sure that he's felt in the room, His presence is there. And so I was just so happy that everybody had a good time. They came out. We had food, and it was. The funny thing is that when you're doing something like that, you're trying to put the pieces in place, and you're just trying to make things work, because no one ever sees the behind the scene actions and what transpired in order for it to build and for it to happen. So whether or not it's finding a place because it started out at one place, then it started out another place, then it ended up at this place, because over the last few years I've always had it at Carter Tabernacle, and then it went to somewhere else. Well, I was planning to be with someone else because I wanted to do something in conjunction with what they were doing for Christmas, but something else came up. But to make a long story short, it's so funny about how God does what He does, because it was perfect right there at my church. You know, I have a small church, and I wanted that feeling of us in the closeness, and I knew that pastor. That was why I asked him to be the MC for the night, because I knew that his spirit would be right, and that if nothing else, that part of it would be right. And so, to make a long story short, that I was just very thankful for what God did and how He blessed not only Friday night, but He also blessed us on Saturday with Peter Carnegie and what was going on with the STEM research and the robotic surgery, and also Ronnie Pierce, who came out and spoke on sex trafficking. And she did a great job, and she came in at the last minute because of something else that transpired with someone else. Had several people that things came up, and then they couldn't do what we thought they were going to do. So, but God just filled in the pieces, and it worked. And the kids had a really good time. There's another component to it that I'm working on, that we hope that we can fulfill, because now we're trying to take the kids to Disney between now and the 29th of this month. So I'm trying to take at least 50 kids to Disney. So we're working on that, in addition to the second part of the summit that was on the 2nd, that we're going to try to do it out at the Nicholson Center, out in Celebration at Disney. At least 3 dates, maybe 4. For the summer. So we're working on that, and if I really can't do any justice of what Peter has set up in order for these kids to really get involved and learn about the STEM research and the robotic surgery, me sitting here talking about it, I can't do it justice, because you have to be there to see it. You have to be there to witness what is going on, and just how these kids are so engaged in that whole the activity, how they just really get into it, and what they're seeing, and it's a wonderful thing. But I say that to just say that God bless the event. It's called What's My AntiDrug Eve Summit. We're going to try to have it this summer for sure, out at the Nicholson Center. We're going to set up at least 3 dates to take at least 60 kids on each trip. And hopefully it's going to be a continuation from this time forward. That is something that we can do. We're going to always bring in a guest speaker on a topic on something before we actually get into the STEM research and the robotic surgery. And we're going to continue with the Gospel Teen Idol. And one of the other things that we're going to do as well is that we got something coming up, which I'm going to call Pastors Dropping the Mic. So that should be a real fun event. You're going to hear more about that later. That's coming up. I think we're going to try to make that happen either in March or April. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're here in the Central Florida area, anywhere close by, Orlando, Sanford, Deltona, Daytona, Osceola County, Seminole County, so on and so forth, Polk County, just come on over. And for those who are in Jacksonville and Duval County, my people, that's where I'm from, you know, you can come on out. I guarantee you that it's going to be a fun evening, a night of worship and praise. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you it's going to be a night of worship and praise. So I just wanted to give you a little flavor of what the What's My AntiDrug Eve Summit was about, and with the Gospel Teen Idol, mostly focused on the Gospel Teen Idol. And we will do more. We're going to actually have a family on next week that is going to, I want to hear his story because they're doing a phenomenal job working with the kids and using music as a way, as the mentoring. So we're going to have him tell his story. We're going to have some of the kids on. So it's always great to talk to them, what's going on in their world. And so we can learn from them as well. So I just want to say to you, thank you so very much for taking the time to spend with me on this Monday. And you know, I know that you're getting ready for your, Christmas and all of that. And what I was saying was I've been so involved with what was going on, putting all of this together, that I haven't even gotten into the Christmas mode. So I'm trying to settle down and remember that it is December and that Christmas is not that far away. So hope that all is well. And again, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you're looking forward to, well, I don't try to get ahead of my time. You take it one day at a time. But I hope you're looking forward to your Christmas. And I know for a lot of us, this time of the year is kind of like a bittersweet, but God gave us this day. Let's take advantage of it. And let's try and live and do in His will. I want to thank you so very much for taking the time to hang with me on this Monday evening. Hope all is well in your world. I'm Charles Morris. Next time, you be blessed.